The Politics podcast is brought to you, as always, by patreon.com/JURY. New month. We are in the month of March. Thank you to everybody who has supported us. We have our normal little drop, our little dip down right around the beginning of the month. So make sure you got your cards. Make sure you are ready to roll when it comes to the Patreon. But if you want to kick some money in, then go ahead and feel free to do it. Patreon.com/JURY. Or if you are only on the Twitch platform and you are subscribed to Twitch Prime, which, by the way, if you have Amazon Prime, you got Twitch Prime. There's nothing else you need to do except link your Twitch accounts and your Amazon Prime accounts. You can subscribe to me on Twitch for free. Amazon Prime gives you that ability. So go ahead and do that at justinryoung.tv or twitch.tv/JustinRYoung. But enough of talking about how we support the show. What do you say we just do the damn thing?
Politics.
Come on now. Welcome, everybody, to yet another edition of Politics. We've got quite a week on our hands to discuss. We're back to talking about actual things that are happening. No more media talking about media for the sake of media. We got all the craziness, man. Donald Trump came out, gave his Kmart State of the Union. I'm not saying that because he's Kmart. I'm saying that because it's not a State of the Union. First address to Congress is just address to Congress. It's just kind of a test, right? Kind of a beginning, a dry run, promise ring when it comes to Trump and Congress. And by the way, did a job that a lot of people thought was very, very good. And this is something, man, I'm just trying to say. I'm just trying to say for everybody that hates the president. I understand if you hate the president. I understand. I'm just saying, if you set the goal line at he's going to be impeached tomorrow, then you are allowing the world in which he can throw a parade when he gives a speech to Congress that he doesn't go off message on. And that's exactly what he did last night. Here's what I will say for Donald Trump. That dude can speak populism. He's got it, man. He's got that populist gift to gab. Because I'll tell you what, he did better last night on a bigger stage than any Republican official that I have seen in the past 10 years, and that's talk about healthcare. Because in general, what you don't hear from Republican politicians is a lot of stuff other than how terrible Obamacare is, which, of course, to their crowd, Obamacare is terrible. And, of course, that's their position, is they want to repeal and replace Obamacare. But last night, Donald Trump said a few key things that I think is beneficial for him being the figurehead of tearing down Obamacare and replacing it with something else. This is what I think he did well. Number one, he mentioned right up top that pre-existing conditions have to be covered. That's a big thing. That's one of those, that's a trap argument, really. Because it's one you can't win. Because you can't, if you are going against pre-existing conditions being something that need to be recognized and can't be discriminated against, then effectively you are saying no matter what your perfect world Ayn Randian argument is about free trade, you are saying I stand for the insurance companies historically reviled against this little old lady with cancer. It's just a bad political argument. It's a trap political argument. So we said pre-existing conditions must be covered. It's a good way to start off. And it recognizes the fact that that's a trap. So, beyond that, he focused on the positives of the argument. Now, this is something that he has done on the campaign trail. But the fact that he was able, forget what even he said. The fact that he was able to go in to that address, talk about health care, and not be torn to shreds is a step forward for Republicans in general. Because I don't know if y'all have seen these town halls, man, but talking about health care these days, like it was back in 2008, dangerous. It was dangerous for Democrats back then. It's dangerous for Republicans here in 2017, man. Marco Rubio won't even walk into the room. Marco Rubio won't even walk into a room in Miami. He's afraid he's going to get clapped. So I think he did a good job. But it brings us to a couple things that I want to bring up. Number one, we are getting back to Democrats doing what, man, they seem, I don't want to make this seem condescending because I don't mean it in a condescending way. So you want to know what? I want to hear from my liberal. I want to hear from the former Hill Dogs. I want to hear from the Bernie Bros. I want to hear from everybody on the left, all right? Tell me true or false, in your opinion, on the left, in your opinion, one of the best things the Democrats do is tearing each other apart. True or false? And even as I say that, I don't know whether or not it's a matter of framing. Because the Republicans have always said, oh, no, we're a big tent party. We're supposed to argue. There's a lot of people. Oh, we're getting it. We're getting it here in the chat right now, immediately. True, very true. So maybe it's just the framing. I mean, because again, the Republican Party, by any and all accounts, both outside and inside, when I was within the perimeter for the Republican National Convention, the idea inside the perimeter was that the Republican Party was immolating. It was over, Brother Nero. The Republican Party had been deleted. Delete. And yet they won the presidency. And look, infamous Nexus says there are rhinos and there are Republicans. But the fact that there is a nomenclature for infighting shows you how passionate it gets on the right. And maybe it is just something that either doesn't get the same media attention or isn't plugged in the same way, but it seems normal on the right. It does not seem normal on the left. Or rather, it is normal because everybody recognizes it. Like when I just said it, everybody reacted to it, right? But we just keep getting in these situations. This is exactly what happened over the weekend, man. The DNC had a vote to see who would become the new head of the DNC because, you know, they had a little bit of a problem about that during the election. For those of you who are not keeping score at home, Debbie Wasserman Schultz was the head of the DNC. She had to resign in a panic on the eve of the Democratic National Convention in Philadelphia because of leaked emails that made it seem as if she had tilted the primary election in favor of her friend, Hillary Clinton, at the expense of Bernie Sanders. She was then replaced by longtime Democratic strategist Donna Brazile, who was later revealed to have given CNN questions to the Clinton campaign before a debate. So you had the big two that were coming down to it. Tom Perez and Keith Ellison. And by all accounts, it seemed as if this was a relitigation of exactly what happened in the primaries. Tom Perez was more of an establishment guy, a.k.a. Who you really want? The Hill Dogs. And Ellison was a far more progressive candidate, somebody that would be more palatable to the Burns. Those that were feeling the burn. Stoke Squirrel in the Twitch chat right now says it was a silly battle because they're both fine. Well, yeah, I didn't stop people from fighting about it. That's all I'm going to say, because my Twitter feed was lit over the weekend. Man, people were following this vote. It was like a vote on vote on vote, one of those runoff things. Like you had to pass a certain threshold. People were tight. And you want to know what? It wound up breaking almost exactly on the electorate between Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. And by the way, for everybody who, is in the not my president crowd and wants to point out the demographics that Hillary Clinton won the popular vote over Donald Trump, fair to do it. But it also, if you are on the Bernie Sanders side, or if you were, more feeling the burn than running with the Hill Dogs, you got to recognize that there were more Democrats that like Hillary Clinton than Democrats that like Bernie Sanders. Now, like I said, throughout that primary, there are ways that race was shaped that I thought was absolutely unfair. But Dems the facts as we know them. Cold, hard facts. So, that brings us to last night. Donald Trump comes out, gives a speech that doesn't involve him going off script or leaning over the, a lectern and calling Nancy Pelosi a bitch or something, right? Just a kind of good old-fashioned, run-of-the-mill, very populist, fake State of the Union, right? And it seems as if the media, on one side and the other, liked it quite a bit. The DNC offered, as the opposition party traditionally offers a rebuttal. This is usually kind of a grooming position. What you often see is either staid party leadership that is grooming themselves for a larger national platform, or young rising stars to kind of give them a name. In a lot of ways, the rebuttal to a State of the Union is kind of like the Money in the Bank briefcase in wrestling. It's something where, like, sometimes it can be used for something that's actually a thing that's happening at the top of the card, or it can be a way so you can bring up somebody that doesn't normally have a name. Rachel Maddow hated the DNC. Rachel Maddow was so pissed off at the DNC that she called it feckless, I think. Didn't bite hard enough. It's just a bad look, man. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, dude. I mean, there's just something that Democrats love about getting all up in each other's asses. I don't know what it is. Let me know. Email me, theyoungamerican@gmail.com. This is a genuine thing. But anyway, all right. We're getting into something that, whatever. Okay, so he gave a good speech. I think it is a good speech. I listened to it today. It was a good speech. Folks, we give the best speeches, don't we? I genuinely worry for those who want to be in stark opposition to Donald Trump. You gotta start focusing on things you can nail down and not start running down literally. I highly doubt that Donald Trump is actually a plant from Moscow. So if somebody lies under oath during that investigation, hammer him like the Republicans hammered Clinton. But if that's not the case, man, I just don't, you are literally setting this bar so low that he can go out and read off prompter and not scream "see you next Tuesday" at a congresswoman, and everyone's going to jump up and do a backflip. That's the last thing I'm going to say about that. How about we get into this? Ladies and gentlemen, there's something that I am very, very excited to be following throughout the run between now and the 2020 election, and that is rich people running for president. The Rich People Derby has begun. Ever since Donald Trump got to be president, ever since he got elected, I told you, I told everybody listening, everybody who is watching me right now, I told you this was going to bring rich people out of the woodwork. And holy crap has it. Holy crap has it, man. I'll tell you what, go ahead. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. Let's go ahead. Come on. President Winfrey. Oprah says in the age of Trump that she could run for the White House despite being unqualified for the job. This is during an interview with a Bloomberg podcast. Oops. She says to David Rubenstein that before Trump won the November election, she thought she was unqualified to be president, but not anymore. Quote, this is from the Winfrey herself. I never actually thought that was. I never considered the question, even a possibility. But when the reality show icon Trump beat longtime politician Hillary Clinton, she said, I just thought, oh. I could just imagine. Man. Yeah, everybody's making the car jokes right now. Everybody's all on that car joke. And you get an entitlement, and you get an entitlement, and you get an entitlement. Look under your congressional chairs. You all get entitlements. But don't think that she is the only participant in this rich person derby. No. Because we also have Bob Iger. Bob Iger. This is a story from the Hollywood Reporter. They writes, Disney CEO Bob Iger already runs the world's most successful media company, but could his impeccable mogul credentials carry him to the Oval Office? Sources say Iger has told friends he is considering their nudges that he make a run for president in 2020 as a Democrat. But there is a hitch. Any political future would hinge on Iger, 66, finding a Disney successor. Of course, complicating matters in February, he told financial analysts that he'd be open to remaining as CEO after his contract expires in June 2018. Iger has also told the Hollywood Reporter in June that, quote, a lot have urged me to seek political office, but denied that he would consider a run for California governor or senator, positions that have historically served as stepping stones to the White House. Now, let me ask y'all this. Because I kind of have mixed thoughts when it comes back to this derby. Because on one hand, I'm actually very excited that we are starting to see the heads of corporations think about politics. Like, not people who were VPs or executives or people who have bounced around a lot. Carly Fiorina. But people who have been long-time, unquestionable successes at their field. Pocket dial, that I got you. I got you in that. I got you in that delay. There's a little bit of a delay on Twitch. No, Fiorina doesn't count, man. She bounced around too much. And she's not an unquestionable success. Zuckerberg running for president, you can't argue that dude made... I mean, we have seen before his success and after his success that ain't easy. Making a social network be profitable is not easy because a lot of his contemporaries have either totally failed to the point that they got sold for peanuts or have had a lot of problems trying to get their economic engine working. You know, Mark Zuckerberg has. He has succeeded in his field. Bob Iger has unquestionably led maybe the most profitable era, and I only say maybe because I don't have the numbers in front of me, in Disney history. He's an unquestioned success. Now, would he be a good president? Question. Gambling Man in the chat says, Jury ain't liking any of the recent Disney movies, so this is his chance to rip into Disney. No, Disney's great. Listen, man, they've got me into the theater more than any other studio. I go see more Disney movies on opening night than any other studio, hands down, bar none. Between Marvel, Star Wars, and their animation, I go opening night. I get more excited for Disney movies than any other studio, without question. Close the book. Over. Rogue One sucked. Moving on. I like this idea that the concept of politics is not as daunting for these captains of industry, titans of industry. Now, let's see if they actually do it. But the rumblings around this are far more than they used to be. You know, a private sector person coming into the race, you know, it was very, very rare and normally wouldn't happen. You know, and if you look at Donald Trump's playbook, it was, well, manipulate the media, right? Work the media to get as much free press as possible. Oprah's like, oh, wait a minute. You want to see some free earned coverage? Huh? Okay, I got your free earned coverage. Bob Iger, same way, man. Now, do they want to go out on the stump? That's the question. Because the one thing that Donald Trump did more than anybody else that has ever run from somebody without experience was that dude worked a schedule, man. And sure, it was aided because he had his own private plane. Sure, he wound up going to sleep in New York every night. But that dude was on the stump. Does Oprah want to do that? Does Bob Iger want to do that? Either way, if we get one or both of them running, oh, this Democratic primary will be so sweet. Oh, I'm already getting excited, you guys. I'm already getting excited. Zuckerberg, Iger, Winfrey, Bernie. Oh, bring them all on. Bring them all on and make them stand on a stage and answer all the questions. Oh, I just want to savor it right now. I'm just thinking, oh, what delights lay in store for us. I wish it were the 2020 campaign now. BioCow says no Kanye. Well, apparently he'd be running as a Republican, so he wouldn't even be running in this primary. Gambling Man says Bernie doesn't stand a chance for 2020. Well, not if he's going to have to go through Iger. No idea what that means. I would love Iger to run for, again, this is going to become a California gubernatorial podcast as soon as that race heats up. I would love it if he ran there. I got an email. It was from Justin Young. He said, this is the funniest moment from CPAC. We talked a little bit about CPAC last week. That is the Conservative Political Action Committee. It is a big convention that happens in Washington, D.C. It brings together a lot of conservative luminaries. Like any convention, there are dinners and there are galas and there is entertainment. One of the entertainers was singer Lee Greenwood. Lee Greenwood, during one of the galas, decided to sing the following song. Here you go.
McDonald's and you, McDonald's and you, fresh scrambled eggs, sausage, hotcakes, juice and coffee too, just like sunshine every morning. McDonald's and you. That was Ronald Reagan's favorite song, I promise.
One more time. Oh, wait, hold on. Wait a minute. We gotta restart it.
Lee Greenwood. McDonald's and you, McDonald's and you, fresh scrambled eggs, sausage, hotcakes, juice and coffee too, just like sunshine every morning. McDonald's and you.
All right, number one, this is a great rendition of McDonald's and You. We can universally agree on that. Everybody needs to agree right now in the chat, regardless of political affiliation. You all need to agree that that is the best rendition of McDonald's and You have ever heard, right? I just want to see yeses. Just yeses. Nothing but yeses in the chat right now. Just yes, 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 yes. That's it. Spam it with yes. Now, let's everybody wait for literally any reaction ever.
That was wrong.
reaction. There's literally no reaction. And so he's got to goose the crowd.
Ronald Reagan's favorite song, I promise.
Oh my God, poor Lee Greenwood. Look at that. Look at the look on his face. Look at the look on his face. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. We can't play it again.
McDonald's and you. McDonald's and you. Fresh scrambled eggs, sausage, hotcakes, juice and coffee too. Just like sunshine every morning. McDonald's and you. That was Ronald Reagan's favorite song, I promise.
Oh my God, this looking is
above the rest.
He's just like, oh, fuck you, fuck this crowd, fuck you, fuck CPAC. I'm Lee Greenwood, God damn it. I just did a comedy bit. Where I played the McDonald's song. You stuck up pieces of garbage. You're garbage. I hate you. I mean, come on. I sang the McDonald's song. Oh. I laughed so hard. The dude who sent it to me is actually named Justin Young, and I just sent him an email saying, well, I'm dead, so congratulations. You're now the only Justin Young. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get into one of our favorite one of our favorite things here to do on the show, and that is catch up with the scandal engulfing South Korea. We got some new news here in South Korea. Big news dump came down the wire. If you're not familiar, man, catch up. Do yourself a favor and catch up with what's happening here in South Korea. The president has been ousted. We have scandals that has engulfed major corporations based on bribery. There's a cult involved. Dressage has made its way into the scandal. There's a wayward daughter who is roaming the globe of the cult leader that was said to have undue influence over the president. She's narking on mom. It's going wild. So here's the latest. South Korean prosecutors are denied Park scandal probe extension. South Korean special prosecutors investigating impeached President Park Geun-hye were denied permission to extend their probe and question her in person on Monday amid a graft scandal that threatens to topple her from office. Special prosecutor's office will make its final indictments before its investigation into the scandal, which has engulfed the highest level of politics and business in South Korea, closes on Tuesday. A constitutional court ruling on whether to uphold the impeachment, which would result in South Korea's first democratically elected leader being thrown out from office, is expected next month. Are you ready for impeachment? Oh my God, I want to just do that. I want to have my Bocephus hat. A South Korean scandal. Oh, this month. Sorry, this happened. That article was from last month. So we are now within the month that we will find out whether or not they're going to toss that president right the hell out on her ear. We got the opposition parties seeking everything, and I guess has she officially? T2 is of course our South Korean correspondent. Located in Estonia, which is just a little bit east in South Korea. Let me know. Is the stuff that you gave me today? So that was from yesterday. Does that mean that she has officially been indicted? Park has been named as a bribery suspect in corruption probe, is the story that I have in front of me. The prosecution officially put out all the charges on the president for the court to consider. So there we go, man. We might see this lady tossed out on her ear. This is great, man. You got to just do yourself a favor, man. Do yourself a favor. Get out in there. Get out in there. Look this one up, man. This is good stuff. And hopefully it's gonna pop off coming up in but a few days. Hey, I'll tell you what. I did mention earlier that I think Trump did a good job talking about healthcare, because that has always been a haunted house for conservatives and Republicans. They've never really found a good argument that doesn't sound like we love money more than sick kids. Trump did a good job. But the question is, what does the American public think of the current healthcare law as placed in by former President Barack Obama? I mean, we could debate it here, although I think our chat is probably a little bit weary of, super deep discussions. I mean, I know. I mean, what do you say we just all get together? I'm just saying. What do you just say? We just all go ahead and get together and maybe we just go enjoy a night together. Maybe this will all work itself out. Maybe we're just getting some nice clothing. I mean, I'll tell you what. I'm already going to be getting real suited up here today. I'm going to the symphony tonight in San Francisco. What do you say? Just right before the symphony, we just I don't know. Maybe we just we'll all just get together and I mean, what if we just go ahead and hit the ATM and get a bunch of 20s, stop at the gas station, buy a pack of gum, make sure you tell that cashier to drop them off all in ones, because this, ladies and gentlemen, is a pole dance.
Get on the floor if you got that booty.
This is a survey taken by the NBC News Wall Street Journal between February 18th and the 22nd, with 1,000 respondents. The question: are you for or in favor of Obamacare or against, oppose Obamacare? Coming first to the stage with 41%, it is oppose / against. But your headliner with 43%, it is for /
If you got that booty.
That's a +2 spread for and in favor, and that, in my humble opinion, is bad. That is bad news bears for Democratic politicians who want to use Obamacare as something of a battlefield that they want to stand up against. Because if the idea is everybody gets health care, and that can only basically do a split, what is effectively statistically a split, that's not so good, Al. That's not so good. It's a controversial law, man, and I think the other thing that hurts Obamacare is that they're, in their solution to a very noble problem, they decided to make an oligarchy out of insurance companies that they really didn't have a great relationship with and are kind of scummy. So, I think that's the problem. And if you look at why I think Donald Trump did a good job talking about it last night, part of it was, I think he had 4 talking points. 2 of them took insurance companies to task, and 1 of them took drug companies to task. So it was, let me get aggressive against big bad business for the people while tearing down this entitlement, which that's populism in a nutshell. Is business is the enemy, government's the enemy, you are the only people I stand for. And all the complications that come along with that. But that is the ideal of populism, is that. Let's go ahead and get into our emails. You, my friends, can email me, theyoungamerican@gmail.com. Again, theyoungamerican@gmail.com. Got a lot of emails about everybody's media diets. I asked you guys a couple of weeks ago, what media outlet do you feel represents you? Do you feel represents you? John writes, I primarily get my news from Reuters, Bloomberg, and the Wall Street Journal podcast. I get my regular dose of crackpot left-wing hot takes from Facebook and palling around in the in New York City comedy community. I balance that out with no agenda and zero hedge. John, you know my buddy Harry? You know my buddy Harry Turjanian? He's my buddy. Hopefully you've seen him around in the stand-up scene. Jens writes, are you that they get their podcast from The Onion and its German counterpart Politicsx3, and they add as a postscript, they just want to see the world burn. Andrew writes, I don't know that I feel like I'm represented by any single media outlet, but I do in general feel like the media represents me. I don't feel inclined to back one particular source because I can see the biases everywhere. But I think some outlets, I trust some outlets a bit more implicitly than others, a.k.a. the New York Times and the Post. The Post? The Washington Post. Okay. Well-researched and thought-out arguments to persuade will cause me to pause and give something a second look, no matter the origin. The flip side of your question is, I think, do you feel the Donald, or more generally, any politician represents you when they speak publicly? I'd say no. And that's because they play to their base too often, giving well-researched and thought-out arguments, like the media can. Put another way, if you need it succinctly, I'm always going to trust those speaking truth to power than those who already have the power. I would never ask you guys what politicians you think speak for you, because that's a depressing question. That's just, I would never do that to myself. Skylar writes, the best podcast in the universe is where he gets his opinions. That is the No Agenda Show. Just Another Pilot says, all right, 35-year-old now millennial speaking truth to power. I watched CNN as a kid, a.k.a. Headline News. Fell in love with 24-hour news, slowly became a Fox disciple. Clubbed some seal, ritualistically shortened my scrotum. You know, typical kid stuff. Problem was, Fox was sometimes wrong, and a buddy of mine was like, read Foreign Affairs and The Economist. Wow, doors open. Reading facts and opinions about things that happened 5 months ago with a complete picture. Holy moly, was I impressed. I used to listen to the 5 minutes or less headline fact-based podcast, don't remember the name, on NPR, and then was on to the Wall Street Journal morning cast with Gordon Deal. All that is gone, and now I listen to you. Sure, I got my industry-only sites and forums, and I've got some local media, but I like listening to you, Jury, my political news guru. You are ill-informed. I will say that absolutely. Everything else was great until you got to the point where I am your news guru. That's a problem. Moocow writes, what news service represents me is whatever hits the front page of Reddit, along with the most upvoted comments, so I'm not completely swayed by the clickbait titles. That's an interesting idea. Joe writes, you mentioned, this is off the media diet thing. You mentioned finding the incoming comments regarding neutrality interesting. I can relate to those emails. The episode where I started to get concerned about this was right around the elections when you announced that you divulge your votes and opinions on the topics. Leading up to your coming out, I had found your reporting to be the most honest. I wouldn't chalk it up to being neutral or impartial. But following your announcement of announcing, I found myself worried that I would no longer find you honest. Turns out your political beliefs closely reflect my own. I found that to be a tremendous relief, and I continue to enjoy your podcast every week. Thank you for continuing and finding interesting topics every week to cover. I also continue to hold the opinion that present the news is the most honest way possible. Maybe not impartial, I don't know, but it feels honest. I think about the Hill Dogs and sympathize with their opinions that you're not impartial and you're slighting them somehow. I don't agree, but I remember thinking back to your coming out and worried that I'd have the same opinion if you lead in one way or another. Part of a deep-rooted issue within our culture and likely the same root cause of why we're so polarized. I mean, the funny thing is that, hell, I live in the Bay Area and I agree with 90% of the stuff that I hear around here. So it's like, for whatever you think my political opinions are, I think they're fairly diverse. Or at least I don't feel that I'm really, clingy to them. Michael writes, I wanted to share an article with your viewers that you may or may not have read yet. It's an amazingly candid and well-written article from Vox back in April of 2016 and almost predicted what would happen to the left if it kept being smug about the concerns and needs of the rest of the country. I'll put the link to that in the show notes. As a conservative, I found it to be one of the most genuine pieces written during the campaign cycle and was really as much of an eye-opener for me on why so many of my liberal friends have been so closed-minded over the last 8 years, and it can be summed up in 2 words, Jon Stewart. But also in why relatively smart and intellectual people can fall for that kind of groupthink that we were warned about in college but never actually apply to our everyday lives. Anyhow, enjoy and hope it's something that's worth having an entire show discussion on, or it would be awesome to have you read on air for listeners to really get a sense of how good the argument is. Great show. Keep up. And finally, our angry email of the week. It's really not all that angry, but I'll do my best to anger it up. Here we go. Andrew writes, I gotta go worked up. I like you. I do. I used to think you were Brian's drunk friend, but then I found out he was insane. But come on. I get the base comparison between the two sides, sure. But for all the crazy bullshit the right has spent 8 years fearing Obama might do, FEMA camps, taking away your guns, etc., Trump is actually doing the shit the left is afraid of. He's rounding up Muslims. He's silencing the press, regardless of how important the press corps are. And, well, most everyone on his staff is worth worrying about. We do not fear that he might actually be like a child. It's that in a week, he is to the extent of TV that his staff try to restrict the amount of the TV that he watches. The fact that he's letting Alex Jones visit the White House is not much of a reassurance. So that's our angry email of the week. You can send your emails. Please send the angry ones. I like the angry ones. I want to get the angry ones on here. We didn't have a lot of angry ones this week. Get pissed off. Send me angry emails. Email theyoungamerican@gmail.com. Of course, you can buy The Contender at thecontender.us. Working on the new expansion. So do me a favor. Whenever you see something crazy that gets said by anybody in politics over the next couple weeks, I'm going to keep reminding you guys, tweet it to @ContenderGame, @ContenderGame on Twitter. Music provided by Valesco and Trop Killers, and you can follow me personally at Justin R. Young everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. You can download archived episodes of this show at bonerwars.com. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps it up for another episode of the podcast. My name is Justin Robert Young, reminding you that some shows talk about politics, others talk about politics, and some even talk about politics. But this is the only show that talks about all three. We will see you guys next week.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.